Southampton are promoted to the Premier League and Leeds United miss out again via playoffs. Let's talk about it.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk EFL. I'm James.
And I'm Millie.
And today we're going to be talking about the Championship playoff final between Leeds and Southampton.
It wasn't the most entertaining game from a neutral point of view. Probably from a Leeds and Southampton fan point of view as well, actually, because Southampton held on to that 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
And Leeds could have, at any point, taken that to extra time or got that equaliser, gone on to get a winner. So nobody in the stadium looked like they were enjoying themselves. I wasn't particularly entertained by it, but you do have to give it to Southampton there. The way they played that game and the way they managed it was brilliant. Did the job.
At the beginning of the game, Leeds were just all over them for the first, 10 minutes or so. I think they had about 70% possession. But they weren't clinical enough throughout the whole game, in my opinion. Southampton got that goal and held on, and they did a fantastic job at doing it. Imagine being there, how nerve-wracking for both sets of fans.
It looked like hell on earth for all of them. But if we're talking about the fans, to be honest with you, I wasn't that impressed by the atmosphere. No. But it does tend to be, like, I can understand it in a playoff final, especially in one that's got such high stakes, such as the Championship playoff final. I can understand that fans, you can hear the nerves and see the nerves in that crowd. And I did say in the last video that I think Leeds needed an atmosphere to potentially push them on in that game. Not sure, because of Southampton's game plan, the way that they ended up sort of managing the game in the end, I don't know how big of an effect that would have had. I think Southampton had that down to a T. But it may have played a bit of a part, I think, the atmosphere.
The Leeds atmosphere did get better when Southampton was sitting back a lot. The Leeds fans were getting behind them, Leeds were on the attack, but Southampton's defence was just fantastic.
Unbreakable.
It was almost like you described it like line of rugby players.
Yeah, it was. So, you could not get past them.
No, you couldn't.
Every time Leeds tried to even move that ball forward, it was blocked or it was intercepted. And it was just... Honestly, just looking at it from that point of view, they did such an amazing job. Just wasn't the most entertaining thing on the planet, to be honest with you. No,
I mean, I don't think Leeds really had a chance when it came to the attacks, because from what I saw, every single Leeds player had 2 Southampton men on them at all times.
They must be knackered, the Southampton players.
Well, it's the last game, it's the last hurrah, It's either beat or bust. But fair play to Southampton and fair play to Leeds. They were both there to get a job done, and Southampton got that job done. Talking about the managers, Daniel Farke's interview was very, very good.
Very graceful, wasn't he?
Very, very graceful. Congratulated Southampton. Admitted that Leeds weren't clinical enough in the final third, but they will go again next season. It's just a matter of keeping those players and just instilling that hope still that they can get there, because they can get there. They are a fantastic squad. So it was just luck of the draw. But going on to Russell Martin's interview, it was quite nice that he took the time to speak to Sky, but left all of the players to do the celebrating and lifting the trophy and everything. So, he said it was down to them. They won it. So it was really, really nice to see that. I hope he does well next season.
Well, I hope they stick with him.
Yeah,
first of all, because he mentioned that he was worried about being sacked, and that would just be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I also think that if that happened to Farke, I wouldn't call it ridiculous, but I just think in modern football I wouldn't be surprised. I can see them building and regrouping and doing well next season. Like I feel like they could go up automatically if they can retain players. And Leeds are still an attractive club to play for.
Of course.
They're big enough to attract decent players. I just hope that they are able to hold on to the players they have.
Exactly.
As much as possible. And obviously a lot of them were expecting to possibly go up to the Premier League, and Leeds probably will receive offers for quite a few of them.
Absolutely.
And they'll have to pick their battles there, I think, with the transfer window.
Yep, definitely. the likes of Nonto, Somerville, even Dan James, even the goalkeeper Melio, they are very, very good players. So they could be swayed into going elsewhere, whether it's the Premier League or another top division in Europe. As you said, it's down to Leeds to try and keep hold of them. I think if Daniel Farke was to be sacked, who would they go for? I think he's probably the best man for the job at the moment. I can't see personally anyone else taking over and doing as good as he has done, because he has done really well with them. They've had some, iffy results. That's expected of a team, any team. Doesn't matter whether you finish first or bottom.
Yeah, that's not exclusive to Leeds, is it? It's
No,
just
it's
that people love to hate Leeds, and
they do.
That's that Leeds falling apart again is a thing, because people like to see big clubs sort of capitulate a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it's a natural thing to fall apart. That's not exclusive to Leeds at all. I think that next season they will probably go up automatically.
Going to Southampton now, being promoted into the Premier League, they've got a really good squad, but they do need to add 100%.
Definitely, they can't do a Sheffield United here and
I
go
think
in
they would.
thinking that they'll survive the Premier League with what they've got so far. It's not to say they're not a strong side, because they are. They clearly are. But they play a certain way, which I think in the Premier League they'll get sussed out, and they need something new. They need a bit more to be able to stay in the Premier League.
Yes, well, this is where I said in a few videos ago, I don't think Southampton would stay up if Russell Martin was the manager. I hope they do, and I hope they do keep him, and he proves me wrong and probably a few other doubters wrong. But his style of play, I think he's going to have to definitely adapt to something different. Otherwise, they probably will go down, or he will get sacked, and it's story again.
Yeah, it's always a tricky thing, isn't it? Going up from basically the EFL to the Premier League.
Yeah,
it's a completely different situation. They're going to have more money. They'd have a nice big cash injection just from winning that game.
Yeah,
and they've also still had parachute payments this year. So
yeah, I can't see why they can't bring in decent
players.
players.
They can bring names in, I think, and they were only away from the Premier League for a season and they went back up.
Yeah,
so
they're back where they deserve to be as well. It was Southampton's turn this year, and I'm sure it'll be Leeds' turn next year.
Well, if you think about Southampton's season as well, they started off so weirdly. Like we were watching them and thinking they're not going to go back up. You look at the teams that have come down and you sort of inspect them a little bit at the start of the season, and you go, right, Leicester were like smashing it, Leeds were smashing it, but Southampton were really dodgy at the start of the season, and there was a moment in the season where you're thinking, are they just in the Championship now then? Like they sort of establishing themselves there. But no, the way that they finished the season, the way they picked themselves up, even I think they beat Leeds twice in the league as well. So I think when we're looking at head to heads, probably the deserving side went up in the end. But the other thing is that Leeds finished third and just missed out on automatic, which from that side you can say they probably deserve to go up. But you do have to show up on the day, and you do have to come in with a plan. And unfortunately for Leeds, Southampton's plan absolutely worked today. It worked for the whole 100 minutes. There were a few chances for Leeds later on in the game, and they had to sort of resort to long range shots.
Yeah.
Because, like we said earlier on, that back line for Southampton, it was just unbreakable. So it was the only option left was to try and shoot from range, and Dan James was really unlucky with the crossbar. And there were a couple of other chances too where, Leeds looked like they might get the equaliser, but I've never seen the team defend so well in a final like that.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
It really was perfect. Leeds just didn't have an answer to that. But they couldn't have done anything else. They didn't know how to cope with Southampton's play.
Congratulations, Southampton. We've not actually congratulated you yet, so congratulations for your promotion. Sorry to see you go. And that's that. You're up. That is the football season over. The next thing to look forward to now
is the Euros.
And we're actually going to do a bit of Euros content because since we're going to be watching it anyway, why not? I know we are Let's Talk EFL, but for the summer we're going to be Let's Talk Euros.
Yeah.
And we've got a quiz coming up at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
And in the lead up to the Euros, we'll be doing a little bit of content there. And obviously we'll be doing our predictions. They're going to go great as usual.
Of course, they're always right.
So anyway, join us if you're interested in the Euros content. If you're interested in the EFL content, we'll be there next season as well, doing the whole season. Our predictions will be up soon for the tables for each of the EFL leagues. And we'll be having a look at some fun things as well, like kits and rating them.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at
Season
transfers, season tickets, all kinds of things. So if you're interested in that kind of content, do subscribe, turn the notification bell on, click like, click comment, and just comment on what we've been talking about here. And we will see you soon for some more EFL content, and then for the summer, Euro content. See you later.
See ya.